Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Today we're going to discuss an interesting Gibson prototype that's slightly explicit. I don't know, maybe I'll have to do some censoring, maybe not. It just depends where your mind's at. So let's take a look at this thing. This one was sent to me on my Facebook page, and it's described as a Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul Standard Modern prototype, figured top. So from first glance here, you can see, well, it's a regular Les Paul Standard. It has kind of like that bangle burst finish going on. It's like slightly red and orange at the same time. Super modern. You've got two humbucker pickups, one in the neck, one in the bridge, your standard controls. But okay, that's something interesting. We do not have a bridge tailpiece setup. It appears to be like some sort of fancy wraparound. Our fretboard's looking the same as it always does, as is our headstock. So far, only one interesting feature here. Upon closer look, this reminds me of those old 80s bridges. It's essentially the first wraparound bridge that Gibson used. We covered these guys when I did the review on the Gibson Spirit 2. But here we can also see that flame top start to really come to life. And that's what these next photos are basically showing you here, is that this has, a pretty good flame top. The pinstripey stuff like this, not my favorite, but, it's still a nice flame top nonetheless. And I'm noticing here that it does not have a pickguard. I'm not sure if this would look good with a pickguard at all, because that wrap tailpiece thing is kind of throwing the whole vibe of this guitar like more towards a Floyd Rose-esque type thing. But that's definitely not what it's doing. So upon closer inspection, it appears you might put the strings maybe even through back here. Maybe it's even something underneath here that just goes up and then over. And then these are supposed to be complete brass saddles. This photo kind of helps illustrate that as well. I mean, brass is well known for sustain. So maybe what's going on here is you have a brass block that kind of inserts inside here, and then from the back you string your string through, and that way it's always in contact with brass. So they're going for that whole sustain thing here. But the description says this tailpiece was designed and created by Gibson Custom Shop, and it is not an aftermarket tailpiece. I was unable to find anything else like this out there, so that very well might be true, but these look very familiar to, I think, certain Tone Pros products, so it might just be a limited edition thing from there. If you've seen this design somewhere, definitely let me know down in the comments section, because it's kind of an interesting design. Because when it comes to converting a wrap tailpiece into something that's intonatable, the only other thing that I've ever used was a hip shot product called the Baby Grand. It looks really cool on a Les Paul Goddess, not so much on everything else. But cool, that's an interesting feature that they're playing with here. But why is this guitar a prototype if it's, you could also convert this to like a wrap tailpiece? Potentially, depending on what you're doing. When this thing was first shared to me, that was the question I was asking. Why is this guitar that special? I mean, sure, it's kind of an interesting thing that they're experimenting with here. But the most interesting thing has yet to come. It doesn't look like it says it anywhere in this listing, but I am guessing this is like a 2016-2017 product because of what you're about to see. Yeah. That's what they put on the back of the headstock. This was the prototype to the Apex headcarve. And that's this thing right here. It's kind of like this rhino spike. It was initially birthed on the Rhino Les Paul itself, and that was in 2017. But you can see it's got that spike that runs up and down the neck, and then it's got this kind of more bulky area right here. That was a modern day volute designed to give the headstock more strength, because Gibsons are well known for breaking in that area if they experience trauma. So if we're to believe the seller's listing here, this was like one of the first prototype designs of the Apex headcarve. Now this could just be like a prototype of a certain run, and they were experimenting with other things, so it might not actually be the prototype for it. But it's interesting to get to see this design before it was refined. It looks like we got one other angle to look at this. So it's just kind of really big and bulky right here, and then it just kind of comes up to there. It's kind of like Gibson's giving you one of them bad mother fingers, right? So you guys gotta let me know your thoughts of this down in the comments section, because I'm definitely really appreciative that they didn't do this, that they refined it into the Apex headcarve. But my thinking here is this was probably actually stronger, because look at how much additional wood is right here. as compared to this one. There's like less here, but it looks like almost more of a bulk right there where you kind of need it. But this one just looks stronger to me in that area. So I think they might have actually sacrificed some protection for some elegance. Now, it looks like this guy originally purchased it from Chicago Music Exchange, so who knows, maybe they can chime in and tell us a little bit more of the story if they have anything of it. But this is just kind of an interesting experimental beast. But how much is this guy asking for this piece of Gibson history? $4,299. That's not too bad. I think if a collector really wanted to add this to their collection, that's not overpaying by any means. But the only thing I have an issue with it is so far Gibson has not ever utilized these on anything else since. And unfortunately, the Apex headcarve did not get a lot of love. They still kind of use it on a few models yet today, but it didn't become as widespread as I think Gibson was hoping to use it. So this might be one of those guitars that's worth a little bit more in like the way distant future when somebody's like, oh yeah, those quirky Apex headcarves, I have the prototype version of it. As compared to something that becomes super valuable in the future because it's the first of something that started something. A lot of people don't understand that just because something is rare does not make it valuable. It also has to have the desirability factor. But this is offered for sale on Reverb by Sound Pony Guitars. I will put a link in the description. That also helps support the channel because it's an affiliate link. But it looks like he's also open to offers, so I mean really anything between 35 to 42, I think you're good on this one. It's just kind of a interesting collector's piece. But since this episode's a little bit short and we were talking about Chicago Music Exchange selling prototypes, here's another interesting one on their website. It's called the Gibson Custom Shop Nashville Les Paul Special Prototype. That's quite the title. So it is a custom shop Les Paul special with some interesting features that doesn't make it historic, just custom shop. And that's kind of what makes this thing really interesting because two-piece flame maple top. Usually they don't have any type of maple top. And we've got black binding here. Oh, sometimes things just hit you. Like I didn't realize just how special this was going into this one. It's got an ABR1 bridge and tailpiece setup. Normally it's a wrap tailpiece on a special. That's quite a bit just on the front here. But it's still a flat top. A carve top special would kind of just make it an R6 at that point with a different finish, except for the inlays and stuff. But they kept it flat. Ooh, I like that back. It's I wonder if that's actually a satin finish because it looks like you can definitely at least see the wood grain and it looks like it would be nice and smooth. We've got our custom shop medallion right there. But the back of the neck looks ultra glossy, so I think that's just the photo angle because you can see the gloss shine right there. So that's just kind of a interesting finish. I like that. I'm not a huge fan of the top finish of this guitar, but everything else is looking pretty similar for a Les Paul Special. It's our headstock. It's just the Gibson Mother of Pearl logo with Les Paul Special decal. And the back says Proto 1. I really wish Gibson would bring back the prototype stamp. Do something because I think that looks a lot cooler than them just writing stuff on the headstock. Makes them more collectible in my opinion, but I'm digging the wood grain on the back of this one. I think that answers our question as far as if it was gloss or not. But what really confuses me is the case. The case says Gibson Memphis Shop, so they were probably just using stuff up there, and it's got the Memphis style certificate of authenticity as well. I think anyways, I might be wrong on that. Sometimes they have just different color booklets for a bunch of stuff. It says it was made in the actual custom shop. And hey, for a prototype, you know, $25.95, not the worst price I've ever seen. That's got a lot of unique specs. Regular Les Paul Special from the custom shop used. That's within range, 18 to 25. Like sometimes the TV models will go just a hair more. So you can check this one out if you'd like. So for our playing demo today, I don't think I'll be able to find a strange wrap tailpiece one, but let's go ahead and find ourselves a Les Paul Special. The only question left, would you rock this prototype Les Paul Modern or not? Leave your answer down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.